Big Turbo GT coming to you. I want to discuss proper car terminology today because I see a lot of dumbasses that have a lot of followers on YouTube saying the wrong shit all the time, spreading misinformation. Regardless of whether you know how a car works, how to be a mechanic, how to weld, all that shit, if you're spreading misinformation, you're not spreading good information, okay? To start with, an engine is not a fucking motor, okay? You don't put a motor in your car. The only motor you're putting in your car is for your antenna, your fucking windshield wipers, and your starter, okay? Those are the only motors. A motor takes electrical energy, okay, and converts it into mechanical energy. That is a motor. An internal combustion engine takes chemical energy and converts it into thermal energy and takes that and converts it into mechanical energy. They are two separate things. A fucking engine is not a motor. Okay, so stop saying, oh, I just put a B18 motor in my Honda. It's not a fucking motor. It's an engine. Okay? First of all. Second of all, a wheel is not a rim. It's not a tire. Okay? It's a fucking wheel. Rims were for old school cars that had steelies, and they took a chrome rim and put it around the hubcap, and that was a rim. That's where that terminology came from. Once again, on a one-piece wheel, it is totally incorrect. It's a wheel. Third, NOS. Nitrous oxide is not NOS. NOS is a brand of nitrous oxide. You can't say, oh, I just put NOS on my car, unless you actually put NOS brand nitrous kit on your car. NOS stands for Nitrous Oxide Systems. It's a brand like Zex or NX, Nitrous Express. They all make nitrous oxide kits, but nitrous is not NOS, okay? It's just not. I really hate when people use improper terminology. Number 4, dizzy. You have any idea how many people don't even know what a distributor is, let alone people's stupid ass abbreviations that they decide to have for them as slang? I find myself saying it so that people will understand what I'm talking about because they honestly don't know what the word distributor is, which is pretty pathetic. Okay? A distributor distributes the electrical current to your spark plugs, okay? Through the distributor cap, usually with an external coil or igniter, or both. Okay? It is a distributor. It is not a dizzy. Okay? I hate when people can't get that shit right. It's so easy to get right, and yet people never do. Okay? It's like, if you're going to be a mechanic and you're going to put information out there on the internet for other people to learn from, at least get the the terminology right. Number 5, the components of a turbocharger. Oftentimes, people call the exhaust side the exhaust wheel and the intake side the turbine. It's not the case. The only turbine inside of a turbocharger is on the exhaust side, which is why it's called a turbine housing. On the intake side, it is called a compressor because it compresses the air. That's its function. Yes, it uses a turbine-like blade to do this, but it is not called a turbine wheel. It's called a compressor wheel. The turbine is what connects to the shaft that actually provides the mechanical energy to turn the compressor. Okay, the other thing, it is a turbine housing and a compressor housing, not an intake and exhaust housing, even though that's where their placement is. That's not their function. Their function is a turbine housing. It houses the turbine, which harnesses that heat energy and turns it into mechanical energy, and then the compressor, which turns the mechanical energy from the turbine into well, it's still mechanical energy, but it uses it to compress air in your intake track so you can get more oxygen in your engine. It is a compressor and a turbine, okay? Not an exhaust wheel and an intake wheel, not an intake and exhaust housing. It's a turbine and a compressor. Really simple. Center section is called a center section, or a bearing housing is what it's called. You guys gotta learn the proper terminology if you're going to talk about cars in a way where people might learn from you. That's all I'm saying.